Let's talk about a bold, controversial new proposal that's been making waves in Washington. Trump's External Revenue Service, the IRS. It's a move that's sparking heated debates, with supporters praising its innovative approach to trade and taxation, and critics calling it an overreach and inefficient. But what does it mean for you, your finances, and the economy at large? Let's dive in. First, let's take a moment to understand tariffs. A tariff is essentially a tax imposed by a government on goods and services imported from other countries. The primary purpose of tariffs are to generate revenue for the government and to protect domestic industries by making imported goods more expensive, thereby encouraging consumers to buy locally produced products. Now, historically, tariffs have been a significant tool in shaping trade policies, and they've played crucial roles in the economic development strategies of many nations. In the early history of the United States, tariffs were a primary source of federal revenue, funding government operations and infrastructure projects. There wasn't even an income tax at the time. For instance, the Tariffs Act of 1789 was one of the first major pieces of legislation passed by Congress, aiming to protect burgeoning American industries and foreign competition and to generate revenue for the federal government. Over time, the reliance on tariffs decreased with the introduction of income taxes, but they've remained a tool for economic policy and protectionism. So, what is the External Revenue Service, or the ERS? Simply put, it's a proposal to create an agency separate from the IRS. Its primary goal would be to manage and enforce tariffs, fees placed on imported goods. According to Trump's team, this new agency aims to streamline the tariff process, increasing revenue, and reduce Americans' reliance on foreign goods. Supporters of the ERS argue that tariffs can be a powerful tool to boost domestic industries and generate significant revenue without directly increasing taxes on individuals. By targeting foreign import, the ERS would essentially shift some of the tax burden overseas, encouraging American-made products and potentially bringing back more manufacturing jobs to the U.S. For example, Trump's team claims that a 10% tariff on import goods could generate hundreds of billions of dollars annually. Supporters like Senator Bernie Moreno have even introduced bills to fund the initiative, emphasizing its potential to protect American workers and restore fairness to international trade. One of the additional arguments in favor of the ERS is the potential for increased self-sufficiency. By reducing reliance on imports, the U.S. could strengthen its supply chains and ensure greater stability during global disruptions like pandemics or geopolitical conflicts. Supporters argue that this kind of resilience is not just an economic benefit, but a national security imperative. Another positive aspect being discussed is how the ERS could provide a predictable and consistent revenue stream that isn't tied to income or even corporate taxes. This could be particularly beneficial in times of economic downturn when things are slowing down, when the traditional tax revenues might decrease. With tariffs providing a steady income, the federal government could avoid taking on more debt, issuing more bonds, or introducing emergency taxes. Trump's prior tariff proposals provide some context for the new initiative. During his first term in office, he implemented a series of tariffs, particularly targeting Chinese imports, as part of his America First economic policy. The goal was to reduce U.S. trade deficit and encourage domestic manufacturing. These actions led to what was commonly referred to as the U.S.-China trade war. Now, in his second term, in his first few days of office, Trump has proposed even more extensive tariff measures, such as a 25% tariff on goods from Canada and Mexico, which he claimed alongside the ERS would generate significant revenue for the U.S. His administration emphasized tariffs as crucial for boosting domestic manufacturing and reducing illegal activities such as drug trafficking. To understand the potential industry-specific impacts, let's consider a few examples. The steel and aluminum sectors, long at the heart of the U.S. manufacturing base, could see significant benefits as tariffs make imported alternatives less competitive. Look at Pittsburgh. It used to be the steel capital. This could lead to more domestic production and job creation in those industries. However, industries relying on imported components such as electronics and automotive manufacturing might face higher costs, potentially passing those costs on to consumers, raising the cost of goods. International countries like Japan and South Korea have used tariff strategies in the past to develop key industries, and some supporters argue that the ERS could replicate similar success in the US. However, critics warn that the global trade environment today is far more interconnected, and unilateral tariff increases might provoke retaliation that wasn't as likely in earlier periods of economic development. Public sentiment on tariffs varies widely. Some Americans view them as patriotic tools to protect jobs and industries, while others see them as hidden taxes that disproportionately affect middle and lower income households. Polls on Trump's prior tariff measurements showed a split in opinions, often along party lines, but there was also significant agreement on the need for fairer trade practices. Transitioning to a tariff-focused revenue system could also bring some challenges. Businesses would likely need time to adjust their supply chains and pricing strategies. And consumers might experience some sticker shock, especially at first, before those supply chains come online, as prices rise on imported goods. However, supporters suggest that over time the economy could stabilize and even grow stronger as domestic industries adapt and thrive. There's also the possibility for innovation within the IRS. Supporters envision the agency utilizing advanced technologies like AI and blockchain to effectively enforce tariffs, track compliance, and minimize fraud. Such innovations could potentially make the IRS a model for modern revenue collection and enforcement agencies worldwide. But not everyone's on board. Critics warn that tariffs function like a hidden tax on consumers. When companies have to pay more to import goods, they often pass those costs right along to you, the buyer, in the form of higher prices. That's especially concerning when inflation is still fresh in everyone's minds. Household budgets are already tight, and this could stretch them even further. There's also the question of how other countries will respond. There could be tariff wars. Tariffs can lead to trade wars, with countries retaliating by imposing their own tariffs on American goods. That can hurt exporters, including farmers and manufacturing that rely on selling their products abroad. Some experts worry that the IRS could spark more economic tension globally and destabilize already fragile trade relationships. Now, on the flip side, supporters argue that these trade tensions could open the door for negotiated trade deals that are more favorable to the U.S. By creating leverage through tariffs, proponents claim that the IRS could help the U.S. secure better terms with trading partners, leveling the playing field for American businesses. From a financial perspective, this initiative could have ripple effects. Tariffs might push up the cost of goods, which could drive inflation even higher. For investors, that might mean even more volatility in the stock market, especially in sectors like retail and manufacturing. Now, on the other hand, if the IRS succeeds in making American products more competitive, we could see long-term growth in domestic industries and a healthier trade balance. There's also the administrative cost to consider. Setting up a new agency like the IRS isn't cheap, and critics argue it could duplicate work being done already by the IRS and other government bodies, other three-letter agencies. The question becomes, does the potential revenue justify the expense? Supporters counter that the IRS could actually reduce inefficiencies in the long run by creating a specialized agency focused solely on tariffs. They argue that enforcement could become more effective, reducing loopholes and ensuring that all applicable revenues are collected. This could be a boon for federal revenue without placing additional burdens on taxpayers. One key point to note is how this proposal is being framed politically. Trump's team is selling it as a patriotic move to strengthen American economy and independence. That message resonates with a lot of people who feel left behind by globalization. But opponents see it as a populist play that oversimplifies the complexities of international trade and taxation. As always, the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. There's definitely pros and cons with everything. For now, the IRS is still a proposal, and it faces significant hurdles before becoming reality. Congress will need to debate, amend, and potentially approve it, so expect to hear more about this in the coming months. So what do you think we should do? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to help my channel grow and to please the YouTube overlords. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.